All right, Ryanair's first half net profit beating estimates. The carrier is now raising its 2026 passenger forecast. Joining us now, Neil Sorahan, CFO of Ryanair. Neil, great to have you here.
Delighted to be here.
So what was the source of the strength? I mean, you had better traffic even with some somewhat higher prices. So what are you seeing there?
Yeah, well, we carried a record 119 million passengers in the first half of the year. That was about 3% up on the prior year. A bit slower than we would have liked. There were some delays in Boeing aircraft coming in early in the year. They're doing a great job. They've caught up completely now since then. Fares, as you said, up 13% in the first half of the year. We had a really strong Easter in Q1. We'd weak prior year comps in the first quarter, and we recovered all of the 7% fare decline that we had in the second quarter last year in the quarter just ended. And of course, as CFO, I was particularly proud of our performance on costs. Costs up just 1% on a per passenger basis because we had very strong fuel hedging in place, which helped offset double-digit increases in air traffic control charges and environmental costs.
And in terms of projecting ahead on passenger traffic and things, it seems like you're being maybe a little bit more cautious. What are the elements that are going into the next half?
Yeah, well, on traffic, we expect to finish this year at about 207 million, which is marginally up from where we had originally planned.
Okay.
We were targeting 206. Boeing, as I said, have done a great job getting aircraft through the summer. And you know, we took 10 aircraft in September, for example, 5 last month. So we've been able to tweak up that number to 207 from 206. That's about a 3.5% increase. We are a bit more cautious on fares into the second half of the year. Don't expect to see 7 or 13% fare increases. The comps are more difficult. The online travel agent issues that we had last year annualized in September just gone. So it's more normalized kind of comps into the second half. And I don't have visibility. So Q3 is going to depend on how Christmas goes. Q4, don't have any bookings in the book to talk about at the moment.
You say Boeing is fully caught up. So where does that leave you in terms of the forward delivery expectations and everything else?
Yeah, we've an order book of 206 aircraft for what we call the game changer, the Boeing MAX 8-200. We've 204 of those as of the end of last week. The remaining 6 will come this side of the back end of February next year. So we're now, for the first year in many years, looking into a summer where we'll have a full complement of aircraft. That will enable us to grow by about 4% to 215 million passengers. And then more importantly, the MAX 10. We've 300 of those on order, and we're very much planning with Boeing now to get the first 15 of those in the spring of 2027. And that's what's going to enable Ryanair to grow to 300 million passengers per annum by FY34. So we've got a decade of profitable growth coming at us.
So that seems like you're presenting it as it's strictly a supply question in terms of your growth meeting that target. Is it all kind of market share won from elsewhere? You see the economy being that much stronger in the next year or two?
Well, capacity is usually constrained in Europe. Despite the fact that Boeing are getting better and Airbus are getting better, they're still way behind in their order books. And it's going to take them a number of years to catch up. We've still got the Pratt & Whitney engine issue on the GTFs. That's probably going to take about another 2 years to go through. We've got consolidation happening in Europe at the moment. We've got SAS being taken over by Air France. We've got TAP up for sale. And we've got weaker carriers who just don't want to compete with Ryanair because our cost per passenger of €35 is some 80% lower than our next nearest competitor. You know, to put it in context, over here in the United States, Southwest are about 400% higher. So, you know, we've got a really strong cost base. Airports are scrambling for growth. They know Ryanair is going to be able to deliver the growth to them. So we're growing in places like Sweden, we're growing in Italy, we're growing in Morocco, and lots of other jurisdictions across Europe. At the same time, we're pulling our spare capacity out of airports and regions where they're putting up taxes, environmental costs, and we're delivering it to lower cost regions for ourselves.